Sometimes you go directly to a movie and experience it, and sometimes it takes another movie to point out a movie's greatness. I watched Nouvelle Vague by Richard Linklater recently, and it was so brilliant that it made me, because it's about it's about French New Wave film in the '60s, but it's told through the lens of Breathless by Jean-Luc Godard, and it made me want to rewatch it because it had been a while. And so knowing how it was made and the story behind it made it so much more impactful. When I saw it before, I thought, the originally Breathless, I think 1961, is that it? It's early. I kind of thought, oh, it's a kooky French film. It's interesting. But watching things, understanding the history behind them made a huge difference for me in this case. And I always liked it, but I really like it now. And there are a few things in particular that I wanted to talk about that make it really interesting to me. One is knowing that it was just kind of the scenes. He wrote the dialogue like the morning of, I guess, which is fucking crazy and brilliant at the same time. Like, just roll with it. Why not? Who cares? And apparently Jean Sebring in at least in Nouvelle Vague was kind of like, I don't know about this guy. This is his first film. There's no script, really. Well, what are we doing here? I'm a big star, but it turned out okay. And there are weird things that happen. Like at the beginning of it, I kind of thought there's some abrupt cutting and editing, and if it was made in like 1970 or later, I would have thought, oh boy, here we go. An art school kid who thinks they're doing something interesting that people have done many times, but they think they're doing it for the first time. Just in terms of like that cliche, independent film kind of look, and the weirdness. But to think that he was like apparently one of the first people to do some of these things, maybe, it carries a different kind of weight. There's one shot in particular that really got me that I wanted to mention, and it's when they're in the bathroom, the two main characters, and they're both like in the shot in front of the mirror, and it just cuts from one take to another. Like they're here, and then all of a sudden they're here, and it's continuing, and it flows. How many fucking times has that happened in like major, look at the canon of like directors. Like if you make a film, you're in the canon, I think, but like think about all the people above a certain level. How many times has that happened where they just cut abruptly between two takes? It's really fascinating. I mean, where you can see it. I don't mean where it's like you're doing coverage and you cut to one take. No. I'm talking about you see them here in the frame here. Where's one woman? Here's the guy, Jean Sebring, and here's the guy. And they're here talking, and then they're here, like abruptly. It's crazy, I think. Fascinating. And it works. And just the way it's put together, it does have, a plot. It does have like an idea. I do think the ending is interesting. Like, why does she turn him in? Why, is it because she feels like it feels like in a way she's kind of attracted to that kind of badness, She knows he's a murderer, and she kind of lies to the cop at first that she hasn't seen him, but then she's carrying his baby perhaps. So she wants him to love her, but she doesn't really feel like he's capable of it, and maybe that's why she calls and thinks, even if it's his baby, I'll have it with someone else. This guy's he's just gonna show up and ruin our family dinners sometimes. Like he's unstable. So I don't know if that's why. I'd have to think about it more. I'd be interested in hearing other theories about it. But it's just kind of fun, It makes you want to go to Paris and just explore things, and it'd be interesting to go to some of the locations that they shot in. But overall, I think the main thing for me is that he operated in a much different way in terms of filmmaking than I thought. I thought we were talking about like Jean Renoir here, maybe, or Truffaut, or somebody who at least followed more of a traditional method of like a script and dialogue and whatever. But now, at least for this one, he didn't, and I've seen several of his movies, but now I got to go back and watch them and read up on them and figure out, like, was he doing this for every film? Or did it change sometimes? Did it vary? Because it seemed like he was like a natural kind of guy. He wanted things to be natural. And in order to do that, some actors can memorize lines and make it seem natural and some can't. And sometimes they do it, but then they don't have the character fully or something. So I kind of respect his methods, but it's an interesting way to do things. You know, sometimes people tell you like, oh, Citizen Kane, it's so great it did this. I hate Citizen Kane. I think it sucked. I'll have to rewatch it, of course. I'm open to changing my mind, but I thought it sucked. I mean, it wasn't like sucked like Tommy's The Room or anything, but it's just, I don't see it. But people, some of the things in cinematic history and filmmaking that had never been done before were done in Citizen Kane. I don't care. I don't like it. It's like if you're in a gallery and people are trying to tell you, Titian this is why Titian and Caravaggio are great or whatever, and you're just like, no, I don't like it. I like Caravaggio, by the way. I like Titian too, but those are bad examples. But you get my point. When people try to tell you, you should like Mozart for these reasons. No, I'm going to listen to Belle and Sebastian. Thank you, Annie. Or Devo, right? You like that shirt? Just got it. $55. I'm not sure that, whatever. I digress. Anyway, Breathless. I thought it was fantastic. I want to watch more of his films. I want to know what you think. Tell me below. Is there something about it that I'm missing? Did he do this kind of style in all of his movies? I can't remember. I got to go back and watch it. You know, those are the French New Wave films. I've experienced a lot of them, but it's been a while. I'm a new person to Hong Kong 90s action heist movies. Those are my next two big things, I think. Those are my deep dives for the winter of 2025. Or whenever you're watching this, maybe it's already happened. I don't know. But those are my next two things that I want to dive into. All right, Breathless. I'm going to give it deux, whatever thumb is in French, deux fois.